a couple FAQs and open it up to question and answer. So that's what we're going to cover, and why don't we go ahead and jump right into, well, before we do that, let's talk about the feature set. So first and foremost, new platform support. So we have full xFont, or our patented font smoothing technology, in Windows 8, Internet Explorer 10, and Office 13. I can show you all of those here today. Touchscreen support is something brand new, so you can use a touch device like a Surface Pro in Windows 8 with ZoomText, where you touch on screen, even if it's magnified, will correlate to a button or a control that you're looking at on screen. That's something that we've never had before. And there are touchscreen gestures to do things like pan your magnified view, change your magnification level, and even launch the reading tools. Some new features that we added on the magnification end of things, we've added smooth mouse enhancements. So instead of having those harsh or jagged edges, all the mouse pointer enhancements are very clean and clear at any magnification level. We've also added transition effects for when you turn the color enhancements on and off. Instead of it kind of just blinking on quickly or off, you'll see it fade in and out to each transition or to each scheme as you change it. Another big thing that might not be evident at first, but we have full DirectX support when running ZoomText. What that basically means is better performance and support for hardware-accelerated applications. In the past, a lot of times you couldn't run ZoomText with applications that were using the video card hardware. You'd get kind of this mouse erasing effect on screen. So that's a thing of the past, and I think that's a huge improvement over previous versions of ZoomText. Another thing that we're adding is UIA support. Don't worry about the acronym, it's not important, but basically what that means is improved tracking and program echo for various applications within Windows 8. Okay, so that's the full feature set. We're going to jump into the live demonstration now. Now, one thing I want to mention before we get into the demo, due to some technical issues with Windows 8, this is going to look a little bit different than what you've seen in past webinars. So you're not going to see my Windows 8 screen full screen. There's also going to be a little bit of haziness to the image and some jagged edges when I'm moving the screen. That is just because of some technical difficulties with Windows 8. It has nothing to do with ZoomText. GoToMeeting actually isn't fully supported in Windows 8, so I kind of had to figure out a way to get it to work. And so there are some compromises that need to be made as far as visual quality goes. So just keep that in mind. What you're going to see is not going to look as good as if you were running it in real time on your own computer. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started now. I'm going to switch over to my touch screen. I've already got ZoomText running here. We're on the start screen, and one of the first things I want to show you is ZoomText is magnifying and it's reading people, all of the items that are on the start screen.
Desktop. Messaging. Weather 82, Mumbai. Hazy sunshine, 83/80. News U.S. considers faster pullout in Afghanistan.
Okay, so we're able to magnify and apply our xFont on all of these tiles, even the live tile to the left, the weather tile.
Weather 77, London. Fair, 77/40.
Okay, so this is going to be constantly updating. This is actually updating faster than I would want it to, so that's why I read the last one. I think it's changing the tile every 3 seconds here. But as it's updating the text information, we're able to apply our xFont to that, which, again, no other product in the market has. So you can see the quality of our text. We're able to read on the start screen.
Photos.
And if we were to, search for an application,
Search
like ZoomText, you'll see that we're able to track, highlight, and read text in the search field.
ZoomText videos. Uninstall ZoomText 10. ZoomText 10.1.
If I use my arrow keys, you can see I'm easily able to go through the results when I typed in the word ZoomText. All right, so that's what the start screen looks like for those of you that aren't familiar with Windows 8. The start screen replaces the traditional start menu from older versions of Windows. So I'm going to go back to our traditional desktop, just so everyone can get a feel of what I'm looking at here. So now we're back to the traditional Windows desktop.
ZoomText 10.1.
We've got our ZoomText toolbar up here. And for now, ignore the touch icon in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. I will go over the touch support. And if I were to touch on screen, I can actually move that icon. So I just use my finger and I'm dragging it around. I could put it in any corner of the screen that I want, but I'll leave it in the upper left. Some of the first things I'm going to show you, let's start with the smooth mouse pointer enhancement. So right now you can see I have one already turned on, but let's zoom in a little bit here.
2.545x.
Okay, so you can see even at 5x, again, very clear, no harsh edges. There's no pixelation around the mouse pointer, regardless
Pointer enhancements.
of
No
what.
Scheme yellow with full crosshairs.
Which one I choose.
Red with giant green.
Okay, so you can see here's a giant green. And
Pointer enhanced scheme large yellow. Circle with red with circle.
Okay, so all of the enhancements are going to be smooth. You're not going to get any of those jagged edges. That's
Pointer enhanced scheme.
Brand new in ZoomText for Windows 8.
Yep, giant large yellow.
Okay, I think for now I'm going to turn off speech because it's a little bit distracting, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off.
Speech disabled.
Now, the next thing I'm going to show you is when you turn on any of the color filters, you're going to get this nice transition where it will fade in or out. So if I turn on invert brightness, you'll see that kind of fades from normal color to the invert brightness scheme. And you have to forgive me, I'm struggling here with how small the touchpad is on this. It's very, very difficult to navigate here. But again, if we switch through color filters, you'll see that they fade in and out. Even if we go back to normal color, there's this transition kind of visually alerting you to what's going on. You can turn that effect off if you want to. If you find it distracting, you can always turn that off very easily. So those are two new kind of visual enhancements that we've added to ZoomText. I think the next thing we'll jump into, which I think is what everyone is excited about, is our touchscreen support. So you saw me talk about this little icon that was in the upper left-hand corner. I'm just taking my finger and I'm able to drag this anywhere on screen to the corners of the screen because you don't want it in the middle of your screen. Okay, that is going to allow you to do gestures to control ZoomText. So, for example, if I hold one finger on that icon, I can then double tap with 3 fingers and change my magnification level. Double tap and scroll with 3 fingers, similar to what you do on an iDevice, like an iPad. You can also scroll your magnified view. Again, I'm holding one finger with one hand over the touch icon in the upper left and using my other hand to do these other commands. So 3 fingers and just move my fingers across screen. That will scroll my view. And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see where I'm touching on screen. Okay, there's no way to visually show that through the webinar or even on screen when running ZoomText. I'm going to try and explain a few things here. So you might be wondering, well, why am I using 2 hands? Why do I have to hold one finger over that icon and then use another hand to do commands? Well, by default, with touchscreen devices, if you tap on screen, it's like using your mouse. So if I tap on the Reader tab, okay, that's as if I left-clicked on the Reader tab. If I tap on the ZoomText icon, okay, that's a left click. It disabled ZoomText. So I'll tap on that again to re-enable it. All right, so by default, all of the touch commands are going to be passed to the operating system. All right, they're not going to get to ZoomText. So we've added this touch icon to allow you to go into a mode which is called, I believe, called touch mode. Yes, called touch mode, where you can perform a ZoomText gesture. Okay, so that requires the use of 2 hands. One to hold over the icon, and then the other hand is doing a ZoomText gesture. Again, double tap and move your fingers diagonally to the right, left, and you can change your magnification level. If you just move with your fingers, 3 fingers on screen, that will pan the magnified view, again, while holding that touch icon. There is another mode. If you double tap on the touch icon, notice that it changed to a lock icon. And in this locked mode, any touch command I do, excuse me, will be a ZoomText gesture. So instead of me having to hold my finger over the icon, now I can just use 3 fingers with one hand and scroll my magnified view, double tap with 3 fingers, and move diagonally to change my magnification level. Okay? But now in this mode, none of the touch commands will go through to the operating system. They're just going to ZoomText. All right? So in this fashion, you could use a mouse for clicking on controls, and then the touch screen for ZoomText functions. I think most people are going to use it in the touch mode with 2 hands so that they can also use the touch screen to perform functions within the operating system. So just double tapping that icon, the touch icon, will switch it from the locked to the unlocked mode where you can choose whether or not those touch commands are passed through the operating system. Now, a couple other things. I really want to show you where this is powerful, and that's best illustrated when using the reading tools. So for now, I'm going to go back to the mouse and launch Internet Explorer. And let's go to a website. Let's go to Google News. And we'll go to sports. And I could be doing this with the touch screen. Actually, let me just go back just to show you. So if I were using touch, again, holding the touch icon with one hand, scrolling with my right hand and 3 fingers. Now I can just tap on sports with 1 finger. That activates the link. Now I will scroll, again, holding the touch icon, using 3 fingers with my other hand, and just moving the screen. All right? So here's what I really like about our touch screen support, and that's the ability to start App Reader by touch. So if I hold my finger over the touch icon, I'm going to double tap with the finger using my other hand on any word on screen, have it start reading. So I'm going to start on the second sentence of this article here. It says the NBA's all-time leader. So I'm going to start on the word the. So again, holding the touch icon with 1 finger, double tapping on the word the with my other hand, 1 finger.
The NBA's all-time scoring leader posted the following.
Pause it at any time by single tapping. You can also swipe left and right with 1 finger.
1 is Facebook.
To go to the next or previous word. And again, I can tap at any time on any word that's visible on screen to have it start reading from there. So let's start at the beginning of the article.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar weighs in on Dwight Howard, USA Today. 3 minutes ago, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is optimistic.
Okay, single tap pauses. If you want to say the current word, double tap with 1 finger.
Optimistic.
And if I keep double tapping, it'll say the word, spell it, and then also give me the military spelling.
Optimistic. O-P-T-I-M-I-S-T-I-C. Optimistic.
Whoops, I didn't do it quick enough.
O-P-T-I-M-I-S-T-I-C. Oscar Papa Tango India Mike India Sierra Tango India Charlie.
Okay. Now, one thing to mention, when I'm in the app reader mode, I'm only using 1 hand. Okay, there's no touch icon that's visible on screen. That's because we're in a tool mode with ZoomText. So we're kind of in this mode where none of the touch commands are going to go through to the operating system anyway. All right, so notice that there's no icon there, and all of the commands I'm referring to, I'm using just 1 hand to do. There's also swipe commands to go to the word above or below, swiping 1 finger up or down. It's a little funky on the web because of the way things are organized, but the main thing I want to show you is just how easy it is to use App Reader by touch. Also, let's say I wanted to view the rest of the visible screen, and I wanted to start App Reader somewhere below where I am now. Again, 3 fingers on screen, I can pan my view. Okay, can't pan the web page just like you could if App Reader was paused, and you're a mouse user, but I can see the rest of what's visible here, and I can say, okay, I'm going to start here, tap on the word A.
A person familiar with the visit says the Cleveland Cavaliers are hosting free agent center Andrew Bynum. The 7-footer, who didn't play one game for the Philadelphia 76ers last season.
Okay.
With the visit says the Cleveland Cavaliers are Cavaliers.
There we go. So you can see it's really easy to use the touchscreen and app reader. I think it's probably the best touchscreen feature in ZoomText. It's nice that you're able to change your magnification level and things like that, but I think having the ability to start app reader by touch is very, very nice. So let's go through. I'm going to exit app reader. Just to kind of reiterate, I'll go back to the desktop here and bring up the toolbar. So again, in order for us to do some of the basic commands, hold down one finger on the touch icon, double tap with 3 fingers, and then move diagonally to either corner of the screen. That's going to increase or decrease your magnification level. Okay, so I double tapped and then started moving my fingers. All right, this is the same type of gesture on the iPad or the iPhone when you want to use the zoom feature. It's 3-finger double tap. If I want to just pan my view, again, holding one finger with one hand on the touch icon, and then using 3 fingers, single tapping, holding my fingers down, and then just moving them, kind of pushing the screen in the direction that I want to go. That will allow me to pan. All right? And at any time, I can just tap with one finger on whatever is visible on screen. So, for example, if I wanted to turn speech back on, I turned it off earlier. I can single tap on the Reader tab. Whoops. Reader, speech icon, and then enable.
Speech enabled.
Okay, and it was that easy. Now, one thing I'll just mention that I found interesting, I was using this device yesterday, and I actually found it more difficult to use the touch screen rather than a keyboard and mouse. However, most of that difficulty came in because the icons were so small, it's hard for me to get my finger in the exact location. So when you're magnifying with ZoomText, it actually makes it a little bit easier to tap on the right location of the screen. If you use an iPhone or an iPad, you might see this when you're on the web. If you want to tap on a link, a lot of times it's easier to zoom in on the page before you tap on that link. It's just hard to get that location when you're dealing with a small screen and small icons that you need to hit with your finger. So actually using this with ZoomText makes the touch environment a much more enjoyable experience. Okay, so you kind of already saw IE10, you know, because we were in IE10 using App Reader.
Windows Internet Explorer. Andrew Bynum meeting with
go ahead and turn speech back off. But this is IE10 that we're running. If I bring up the help menu here, I'll just show you. It says what's new in Internet Explorer 10. We go to the About box. Okay, this is IE10. We've got full xFont support, as you can see. If I zoom in, notice that the text is very clear, easy to read. You saw App Reader already working in IE10, so again, we have all of our magnification and speech features working in IE10. All right. Now again, just a comment because I'm noticing here too, when I'm panning the screen and all this, a lot of kind of jitter coming through on the webinar. Again, it will not look like that when you run it on your own machine. That's just because of how we're having to present this through GoToMeeting today. So when it's not moving, that's how it looks all the time as far as the text clarity goes. There's none of those jagged edges that you see during motion. Okay. So let's show another thing. I'll zoom out here a little bit. Another thing that people are interested in, and that is Office 2013. So how do we find applications in Windows 8? Well, we have to go back to the Start screen, so I'm going to hit the Windows key, and things are kind of organized in a difficult way to find them, I think. So what I do when I'm looking for an application, I just type in what I'm looking for. So I'm going to type in Word, all right? And in order to get to the list, okay, because focus right now is in the search field, so in order for me to get to the results, which are actually to the left, you can just use the up or down arrow keys to move focus to the list. And notice I have 2 results, Word 2013 and WordPad. I'm going to turn speech back on.
Speech enabled.
So let's go ahead and activate Word 2013. I'll just hit Enter, or I could just tap on screen on that. So now it's loaded, Office 2013. And
Document 1, Word.
Okay, so now we're in Word right now. Got our tabs here. I'll just zoom in a little bit.
3x.
And I'll start typing.
Hello, and 2. This webinar on ZoomText for Windows 8.
Okay, so you can see that we're able to magnify, track, and read all while you're typing in Office 2013. App Reader also works if I double tap.
Hello and welcome to this webinar on ZoomText for Windows 8.
Okay.
Edit document.
All right, and even if we're
Hello and welcome to this.
even if we're in the tabs, if I hit the Alt key to go up to the ribbon.
Home.
Okay.
Insert. Design.
Now these
Themes.
yeah, so you can see that we'll read all of the
themes.
all of the items on the ribbon. Interestingly enough,
Document.
I think that if you use Touch, Office or Word behaves a little bit differently. Like if I activate these tabs by touch, I don't get any speech feedback in ZoomText. I think this is a behavior difference with Office 2013. If you navigate to things with the keyboard, using keyboard keys, everything will be read. But if you use the mouse or touch, apparently it behaves a little bit differently. So that's just something to be aware of. But again, full xFont support, full reading support in Office 2013. So these are all the platform support features that you will get in ZoomText for Windows 8, support for IE10, Office 2013, as you can see here. Okay. All right. So, again, just to drive the point home, we are the only professional screen magnifier that has this quality of font smoothing in Windows 8. As you can see here, all very crystal clear, easy to read. I think most smoothing that you would see, if anyone has it, it's probably going to look really jagged and very difficult to read. So let me just see if I can show you an example of what
ZoomText user interface.
Other programs might look like.
Speech disabled.
Let's turn this off if I can. So this is probably what other screen magnifiers are going to look like in Office 2013 and IE10. Look how jagged that is. It's it's very hard to read the text. Not much better than what you get with the Windows magnifier. So ZoomText has a significant advantage over any other product that you might have out there, even the Windows magnifier. Okay, so I'll go ahead and turn that back on. Okay. All right. I think that's it for the demonstration here. Do we have any questions, anything that people asked while I was presenting? Okay. All right. But if you guys have questions, we can always go back to it later. There's just a few other things I'll mention that I'm sure will generate some other questions here. So let's just go ahead and get back to our presentation. Okay. So some FAQs. The first question on everyone's mind is, when are you guys releasing this? Right now, we're looking at a target of the end of this month or early next month. Okay, that could change. That is not set in stone. Again, there is a free beta version of ZoomText for Windows 8 available on our website right now. So if you need it, please check out the beta. Give us your feedback. That will only help us have a much better product when we release it. But that is what our target is at the end of this month or early August. It will be an upgrade. However, pricing has not been determined, so we don't have any information as far as how much it will cost to upgrade to this product. My best guess is it will be in line with what previous upgrades of ZoomText have been like. Okay, we just don't have any information on that. There's also a few other things to keep in mind. Windows 8 was quite a task for us to support, and there's many changes in the operating system that caused us to change the entire architecture of ZoomText to support it. So with that, there are some features that will not be implemented at the initial release of this product. They will be added back into the product as a free update post-release. So some of those features that you won't have in ZoomText for Windows 8 when it first comes out is support for the ZoomText camera, the desktop and text finder, the freeze window, the view locator, and dual monitor support. Okay, but all the reading features and other magnification features will be in there. And like I said, these will be added as a free update in the coming months after release. Okay, so just something to be aware of if you want to switch to this product. You know, a couple other things. I had someone ask me to show a couple weeks ago whether or not he should buy a new computer with Windows 8. And I think to answer that question, it's kind of twofold. One, it's a personal preference, but I would caution people with this. I think Windows 8 is going to have some growing pains, not even respective of ZoomText, but it's already going through changes. They're re-implementing a start button. I think Microsoft has a ways to go until this is going to be best utilized by people. It's a dramatic change from other versions of Windows. I didn't even show you the other apps, the non-Windows environment apps, which is kind of like, they're like mobile phone applications that they look like. So this is kind of merging mobile and desktop operating systems into one, and I think it's going to be a painful transition. So if you are not tech savvy, if you don't know how to recover your computer from crashes and do backups and things like that, I would say if you're not tech savvy, stay away from Windows 8 for right now. If you are tech savvy and you know how to resolve issues and you can work with some shortcomings that might be in our product, it might be in Windows 8, then I would say go for it. But a lot of it's a personal preference. I would see if you could try it out first before you buy a new computer. But I will say, I mean, even myself, I found that GoToMeeting is not supported by Windows 8. So there's a lot of products out there that don't fully support it. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about buying a new computer. You might have to be patient with some things that are out there. You might also, need to be aware of some of the limitations in our product as well. Okay. All right, so that brings us to question and answer. Now is your time to ask us questions. There's also a link there on that page, ai-squared.com/Windows 8. Go there, fill out the form, and get your own copy of the beta. You can install it. It's free. It'll be free up until the release. So you've got an alternative. If you've got nothing else in Windows 8, you can run the beta. That's what I'm using here today. You can see it didn't crash on me. I didn't have to do anything boot on the computer. So it is relatively stable. There are issues. Those are the ones that we're working on in order to make sure it's ready for release. So again, now's your time to ask questions. If you want to speak to the group, go ahead and just click on the raise hand button, and I'll go ahead and unmute you. Otherwise, just type in your question, and we can get it there. Someone asked, all right, a few questions that came in. Should we expect xFont everywhere on the desktop? I'm currently running the beta, and for example, I'm not seeing xFont smoothing in the desktop version of Skype, unlike under Windows 7. That's something that we're looking at as far as Skype goes. I just overheard a meeting the other day. I think Skype is drawing their text to the screen differently for Windows 8, so we're not able to smooth it. That is a specific application with a specific problem. There may be others that crop up, but again, it's something that we're looking at right now. It was actually being discussed yesterday. Let's see. Another question about Windows 8.1 and if they're compatible. I believe we've tested that. I don't know specifically, but 8.1, I think the only change in that was the reintegration of a start button. There should be no changes that would affect anything else in ZoomText. Another question someone asked is, will ZoomText for Windows 8 work with ZoomText 7? The answer is no. This will only work in Windows 8. Okay, so it will not work in Windows 7. This is only for Windows 8 machines. The other thing, too, is the touchscreen support is also Windows 8 only. We won't have the ability to do touchscreen in Windows 7.
I just want to add that we are going to be selling ZoomText 10 and including the Windows 8 CD in there. We know a lot of people have different operating systems, so you'll still be able to activate your serial number on up to 3 computers. So if you have one that's Windows 8, you'll use the Windows 8 CD. If you have, an XP, Vista, or 7 machine, you'll use the other CD that will be included. So that will be once we've released it, that's what we're going to do in the meantime. So just to keep that in mind.
A few other comments. Terry asked about how I'm connecting tablets to the screen, and that's a more complicated answer. You can email us.
ZoomText enabled.
It's basically a combination of
password edit control.
Hardware and software. It's not for the faint of heart. I'm actually using, 3 machines now to get it to work. So ZoomText for Windows 8, once GoToMeeting is fully supported, would just work. I could run GoToMeeting on the local machine and it would work just fine. So once GoToMeeting is fully supported in Windows 8, you could literally just host the meeting from your machine. Since we've changed the architecture of ZoomText, it actually will work over that remote connection. So that's one thing to look forward to as well. Michelle asks, is there a help screen that lists the touchscreen hand gestures? I don't know if it's in the beta, but we do have documentation that we could send you. You can email beta@aisquared.com and ask them that question. We can definitely send it to you. Rebecca said, I guess she's running the beta and is getting some slowdowns when using ZoomText. Rebecca, if you're still having that problem, please contact the beta team and work with them to try and isolate that issue. We've had a number of different performance-related issues come up depending on hardware. People have seen different manifestations of that. So those are some of the issues that we're trying to root out before release. So if you are having issues, I would implore you to please contact our beta team, work with them to try and isolate them. The more you're able to help us isolate these problems, the better our product is going to be. Someone asked if there's xFont support for Windows Presentation Foundation-based applications. I don't know the answer to that. I believe it's yes, but I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to double check on that. And yes, ZoomText 10.1 is only for Windows 8. Some more questions. Someone asked about a network version. There will not be a network version of ZoomText 10.1 at the initial release. That will be post-release. We'll be adding that in. Let's see. Someone asked about dual monitor. Let's see. Projection from a 27-inch computer. I'm not clear on your, I think I understand what your question is, Alfred. I think basically you're saying that if you had a touch computer, could you project the image onto a 58-inch monitor and use the touch screen on the computer as kind of like just a touch device? You'd be viewing it on the bigger screen but using the touch monitor as your input device. I think that would actually work right now because you can duplicate the desktops, you can duplicate the display across multiple devices. I think that would work just fine with ZoomText right now. Our dual monitor support that I'm referring to is the ability to have our 3 dual monitor modes, span view, primary with 1x, and clone view. I think in that case what you're referring to might work already. But again, we haven't tested anything like that configuration, but my gut feeling is that might work right now. All right, it looks like, sorry, just saw Reva, you had your hand up, so let me go ahead and unmute you. Reva, can you hear us? It looks like you might be muted on your end. So if you have a question for us, please unmute and you can just go ahead and speak up. Someone asked Reva?
Sorry, I'm on an Android tablet and I've never used it before. So sorry. Okay. My question was about, as of currently, I don't have a ZoomText license of my own, and I know you said the beta was free, and y'all told us about the target for release. If someone downloads the beta now who does not currently have a ZoomText license, when it is released, will it be roll over into a free trial, or will you be expected to purchase?
That's a good question. I'm going to go ahead and mute you because there's a little bit of feedback. But so to answer Reva's question, we have the beta now, which is free, and once we do release the product, there will be a free 60-day trial available as well. I think that it would just extend the betas, I'm pretty sure, because the trial days are going to work a little bit differently. So you would also have the ability to trial the released product also. Thomas asked a good question. Since we've kind of got these differing versions for Windows 8 and Windows 7, will we continue to release updates for 10.0 that are not Windows 8 users? The answer is yes. The plan is to kind of merge both product lines together in the near future and have one version of ZoomText that works on both platforms. So that's something that we're actively pursuing. But rather than make people wait for a Windows 8 product, we felt that it was best to have both products available on the market, even though it is a little bit confusing. But they will merge at one point into one product that will be able to be used on both Windows 7 and Windows 8. So we will not leave the 10.0 customers hanging. But one thing to mention is most of the platform support, the new stuff like IE10 and Office 13, for right now is just in Windows 8. Robert, if you did not get a link for the download, you can call tech support or email beta@aisquared.com. You should have got an automated email if you signed up for the beta, but sometimes it might get stuck in spam. So just call support. They can send it to you, or email beta@aisquared.com. They can email it to you there as well. All right, let's see. Support for IE11, which is going to be released the same time as Windows 8.1. It's my understanding that IE11 is not any different than IE10, and that it will work. Thomas asked about maintenance agreements. That is yet to be determined how we will fulfill those. I think generally what we will do is rather than automatically send out this upgrade to individuals, we will contact them and see if they have a need for ZoomText in Windows 8 prior to fulfilling those. That's yet to be determined. It looks like I missed somebody that had their hand raised. Steve, it looks like you had your hand raised. I'll go ahead and unmute you. Did you have a question for us?
My question was answered.
Okay. All right. Great. Sorry about that. Let's see. Bruno asked, ZoomText 10.0 does not support Office 2013, and there is no plan to do so at this point. That is incorrect. We do plan on supporting Office 2013. However, it will be in ZoomText for Windows 8 first. We do not have any estimate as to when that support will be ready in Windows 7 for the 10.0 product. It is something that we're working on, but for right now, there's no release date at this point. We're working on it.
Just to be clear, it's not going to be in 10.0.
Yeah.
It will be in 10.1. So I know it's a little confusing. It's confusing for us, so I'm sure it's confusing for us to explain it. So we realized that Windows 8, there's a need for it to be out as soon as possible, which is why we're releasing ZoomText for Windows 8 first. It will be, again, as Derek mentioned, it's missing a couple things, not anything that I would call the kind of core parts of ZoomText. But so we're going to kind of do a first release, which is that, and then we're going to be merging everything into 10.1, and in which case that will have support for Office 2013 for both Windows 7 and Windows 8. So bear with us with our explanations.
Thomas, it looked like you had a question. You got your hand raised, so I'll go ahead and unmute you. Go ahead and go ahead, Thomas.
Hopefully I'm not too muted, or can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. My question, because it kind of feeds off of the other questions I was asking, my concern is that we're, being in a university environment, and we actually, we loan the software out to students, and so we're dealing with a situation where we could have users who are Windows 7 in the older versions as well as Windows 8.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea that there could be technically a mixed ZoomText environment. And so that's why I was asking as far as about the different editions and how that works, because we could be in a situation where we might need access to it.
Yeah, I think the reality is, since Windows 8 is so much different and the architecture needed to support it is so much different, that is why there's a requirement for these two different versions. And the experiences between the two platforms will be different for right now. Again, that's part of those growing pains that I was alluding to as far as people in Windows 8. So if you have a need for people in Windows 8 and Windows 7, they will have differing ZoomText products for the time being. Until the two... Go ahead.
Well, that's why I asked about it, because we just recently upgraded and actually got a maintenance agreement because we were figuring that there was going to be an update to support 8. We didn't realize that it was going to fracture initially. So,
yeah.
I don't want to have to burn both of our updates just to support one version, one edition upgrade. Because if it's split off like that, and if I have to use both of our SMA agreement updates for both supporting an upgrade for non-Windows 8 and Windows 8, then we've only gotten one, even though it's technically, that could be bad.
Yeah, I think we can work with you on that issue. What we're going to do once we release is any new purchase will have both editions of ZoomText in the box. So you'll get the Windows 7 version, the Windows 8 version for those new purchases, so you're not in that situation. So if you've recently purchased, please contact our sales department about that specific issue and your serial numbers and your licenses, and we can work with you on that.
It's definitely not going to take two of your ESPs to get from this sort of half step and then to 10.1. I mean, that's only one upgrade, and that's only a minor upgrade, actually. So don't worry about that. It's definitely not going to cost you two of your plan upgrades in there. So I just want to kind of clarify one more time because I know it is confusing. So right now, we have a free beta version for Windows 8 that anyone can go download. You just go to aisquared.com/Windows 8, and it will work free for you until we release the final version. When we release that final version, that is going to be for Windows 8 only. So if you purchase a ZoomText upgrade, it's going to actually have two different CDs in the box. So one is for Windows 8 only, and the other one is the normal 10.0 for your XP, Vista, or Windows 7 machine. So the Windows 8 version is going to be missing a few of those ZoomText features that we mentioned. When we go to 10.1, which we don't really have a time frame at this point. I don't want to share something with you and then have you be disappointed by it. So it's not going to be years away, but it will be in the future. That will include support for all the stuff that was missing in the Windows 8 version, and then everything is going to be kind of merged into one. So you're not going to have two separate CDs anymore. It will just be one CD that will work on a variety of operating systems. If you're confused about that, please let us know, and if I can clarify it better, I will certainly try.
Peter asked about 10.1 supporting Windows XP. The answer to that, at least as I understand it right now, is no, it will not. It will support Windows 7 and Windows 8 moving forward. Reason for that is the architecture we're using, I don't believe will work in XP anymore. So the plan is to drop support for Windows XP once that product is released.
But if people, if you're new to ZoomText, let's say, and you only have an XP machine, then we will certainly still sell you ZoomText 10.
10.0.
10.0. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I think there were a couple hands raised here. Steve, it looked like you had your hand raised. I'll go ahead and unmute you. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was going to be support and this release coming up for Google Chrome.
Google Chrome is something we've looked at, but there's no plans as far as I'm aware of to support it in the near future. It's not targeted for the next release or the ZoomText for Windows 8 release. It is something that we're looking into, but I have not heard that there is a release date at any time. All right, any other questions for us here today? I know it's a little bit confusing, the multiple products thing. Believe me, it's confusing for me, so if it's confusing for you guys, I definitely understand. So let's see. Joe, it looks like you've got your hand up. Go ahead and unmute you. Go ahead, Joe.
Yes, I have a question. Towards a Department of Related Services has purchased a ZoomText 10.0 for me, and I had Windows 8 machine. What should I do? Refuse that copy and ask them to repurchase at the release date? What is your recommendation?
That's a good question. Who purchased it for you?
The Department of Rehabilitative Services. It's not even installed on my machines.
Oh, okay. In that case, I would do that. I mean, you can run the beta for right now. If you've got Windows 8, you can download the beta and then tell them, hey, this, what they bought you won't work in Windows 8 anyway. So you could just tell them, hey, they're coming out with a new product in the next few weeks. That's what I'm going to need. Could you please return this, so on and so forth.
Okay, I must say that the beta is working pretty well for me right now.
Great. That's great news.
I do have one question, though. One thing I've noticed is that sometimes scrolling with the touch screen, I will stop the scrolling, it'll creep on, and I had to move the mouse in order to stop that.
Huh.
Is that one of your questions about navigation?
What are you using as a touchscreen device?
An all-in-one Acer
Okay.
with a 23-inch diagonal.
Okay. Have you contacted the beta team about that at all, or no?
It was in one of my responses to them when I had downloaded one of the upgrades.
Okay. And did they respond to you with any suggestions or anything?
No.
Okay. I would ping them again and ask, I'm wondering, based on the little experience I've had using the Surface Pro here, I'm wondering if it has something to do with the actual hardware. There might be differences in the touch hardware on these different devices that might cause different issues. At least from what I saw when using this, I had no issues with the touch support at all. But again, it's pretty limited exposure at this point. So, but definitely ping them again and ask and see if there's anything else they can try to isolate that problem.
This occurred probably after a number of windows have been opened.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Let's see. A couple other questions that came in. Virtual environment support in 10.1, Zen Desktop and AppV. Those are not planned. One of the major changes to the architecture of ZoomText, well, there's a lot of technical reasons there why it doesn't work. I'll just leave it at that. But right now, there's no plans for support for AppV and Zen Desktop with 10.1, at least the initial release. Will the 10.1 version support Office 2013 for Windows 7? The answer is yes, once the 10.1 version is released, not the ZoomText for Windows 8 product, but the 10.1 version that's coming after that. Follow-up question to that was, will the 10.1 support tablets? I believe in Windows, as far as tablets, I'm guessing you mean touchscreen support. My understanding is touchscreen support will be in Windows 8 only. You could use a tablet PC with ZoomText in 10.0 and Windows 7. You just need to make sure it's a fully, the touchscreen won't work. But as long as it can run run Windows 7, ZoomText 10.0 would work on that right now. Support for Firefox, that question came up a couple times. I'm not sure if folks are having issues with Firefox, but it is fully supported right now, so there should be no issues. Paul asked about Office 365. I believe that's something that we're looking at right now. I'm not 100% sure where that stands, but I know that we're looking into it. Okay, it looks like, Reva, you had a question, so I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. It looks like you're muted, so you have to unmute yourself, Reva. There you go. Reva, are you there? Okay, Reva, I'll leave you unmuted. We can't hear you for whatever reason on our end, but you are unmuted. So if you get your mic figured out. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, one of my questions was already answered about Firefox, but my other question was, will the ZoomText version of Windows 8 work with the ZoomText keyboard okay, if you purchase it as someone, so I have to give you one?
Yes, yeah, for the keyboard. Let me just go ahead and mute you so there's back there. We'll have a new version of the keyboard software to support Windows 8, but that is planned. Good question.
And I do want to add that ImageReader works in Windows 8 actually already. So if you have a Windows 8 machine and ImageReader, you're all good to go.
Gwen, it looks like you had your hand up. I'll go ahead and unmute you. Go ahead. Gwen, are you there? All right, I'll leave you unmuted we can't hear you on our end. So if you get your mic figured out, just go ahead and speak up. Otherwise, just type in your question. We can answer it that way too. Dave asks, will 10.1 perform font smoothing in remote desktop client? 10.0 does so under Windows 7. I didn't believe that if you're running if you're viewing something remotely, ZoomText will not smooth that at all. I'm not sure what you're seeing on your end with 10.0, but if you're viewing any remote machine, there will be no font smoothing. ZoomText doesn't have access to the text information on that computer, so it shouldn't smooth anything on screen. Whatever the experience is in 10.0, it should be the exact same experience in 10.1 as far as that goes, but I don't believe that that would work as it is right now. 10.1, there's so many versions here. It will be a paid upgrade. I think, Peter, you said that you came in a little bit late, but it will be a paid upgrade for 10.1. Will there be an update for Image Reader in 10.0 for Windows 7? I'm not sure I understand that question. The Image Reader updates will be separate from ZoomText, so it shouldn't have any effect on it. Okay, any other questions for us? I mean, keep them coming if you've got the questions. I know we've gone a little bit over, but I want to make sure I answer everyone's questions here today. Glenn asked about a USB version that will not need admin rights. At this time, you still need admin rights to install. And I don't believe that will change with the newer versions of ZoomText. Something that we're still investigating. I don't know if it's possible, to be honest. Tolliver, I'm not understanding your question. An update for the Image Reader in 10.0. Image Reader and ZoomText are separate products, so any updates would be for each individual product. So the Image Reader updates are separate from ZoomText. There's no upgrade, if that's what you're asking, for Image Reader. That will work in Windows 8 right now, as Becca mentioned, so there's nothing. If you wanted to use Image Reader in Windows 7 or Windows 8 today, there's nothing special you need to do. But maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. If I didn't answer it, if you could clarify what you meant, I can answer it for you. With ZoomText USB, Gwen asked about being able to plug into any machine. You still need to have ZoomText installed by the administrator. If it's installed, you can just plug in the USB and it will run without administrative rights. But an installation with administrative privileges is still required. That will not change at this time. Yes, yeah, there will be separate USB versions of ZoomText for each product released. Thomas asked about the NeoSpeech compatibility issue with Kurzweil 3000. You know, we've looked into that over the years, and it's come up again. We are looking into it. There is a potential in 10.1 that we will have newer versions of NeoSpeech available that may fix that issue. It's a NeoSpeech compatibility issue. So we are looking into it, and I'm hoping that newer versions of NeoSpeech would fix that problem, but it's yet to be determined. Joe, looks like you had your hand up. I'll go ahead and unmute you. Go ahead, Joe.
The keyboard for ZoomText, is that compatible now with 10.1?
I'm not really sure. I know back when we had the very first beta out, it wasn't working just yet. I mean, and what I mean by not working, the keyboard itself would work just fine. It was just the keys at the top, you know, weren't programmed yet. We can find out for you and let you know if the beta has been updated to work with it.
So the adaptability of the keyboard may be just a software issue.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.
So maybe I can help with this image reader confusion. So image reader, however, have you actually purchased that? Because that is a separate purchase. It comes with a camera. It's a document camera that plugs in by USB, and you take pictures of things with text on them, and image reader converts it into electronic text, which is read out loud. So if you haven't actually purchased that and you keep clicking that image reader button, nothing is going to happen because you don't have the image reader software on your computer. If you have purchased it and that button isn't working, well, that's a separate problem. So if you can maybe type into the questions area and let us know if you've purchased it or if you haven't yet and that's why it's not working.
Dave, your issue, definitely mention that to the beta team. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly why it would be any different than what you're seeing with 10.0 and Windows 7. I would assume that it's exactly the same, but maybe it's not. But definitely mention that to them. I mean, any issues that people have, you should definitely either email support or the beta team. You know, the more communication we have, the better our product is going to be as we work on some of these issues that people are seeing out there in the field. And actually, Dave, as far as your issue goes, if there's any way to take screenshots of it, I think that would help too. All right, any other questions before we end the webinar? And another thing I'll mention, if you have follow-up questions, feel free to email us, learning@aisquared.com is the way to reach us. If you have any questions about today's webinar, we will post it on our website in the next couple days here. So you will be able to watch the recording. I know there was at least one person who said he got in late. So you can watch the recording once it's available on the website. But again, all of our recorded webinars you can find by going to the support page, the support tab up at the top, and then on the left-hand side, there's a link that says recorded webinars. Just click that and you'll see all the recordings of past webinars we've done. Ming asked about upgrade cost. We have not established what upgrade cost is just yet. It's to be determined. So hopefully we'll have an answer for you in the next few weeks here. But as of today, I do not have an answer, unfortunately. Okay, any last-minute questions before we end the webinar?
Somebody has their hand up.
Dang, it looks like you had your hand up. Do you have a question for us? Did you have a question for us?
Will this
No?
work with Office 2013?
Yes, the ZoomText for Windows 8 product will support Office 2013.
Oh, did you just ask that?
You did.
You did it that fast?
Yeah, we can hear you, actually.
I just unmuted you.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I'm confused about this.
Yeah, I think you're the one that said you came in late, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Derek had mentioned we did record this, so you can certainly watch the whole thing. Hopefully today. I'll be putting it up on the website, but probably maybe more likely tomorrow. And the whole thing will be there so you can watch it.
Okay, thank you. And what was the question here?
They answered it.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you guys for attending. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Got a sneak peek at some of the features that are in the beta and will be in the fully released product. And hopefully we're able to clear up some questions that you had about it. So thank you guys again. Hope you have a great rest of the afternoon.